Hello again from my front porch. Today I want to talk to you about feeling fatigue, being fatigued. And it seemed like a good day to do that out here because you notice how the lighting is nice and even. I don't often get that. Sometimes you get the harsh sunlight. Well, the reason that the lighting is really good right now is because it's overcast here today. It's really, yeah, just overcast, dreary, cloudy. And this kind of weather can make people fatigued. That can cause you to be just sap the energy out of you. But there's other kinds of fatigue that keep being discussed now. In fact, referring to different types of fatigue seems to be a new bandwagon thing, a new hot button trigger kind of thing. We see it in terms of the political world is firing up, and we're starting to see commercials already and campaign stops and appearances. And there are people who talk about having election fatigue or political fatigue, which I mean, yeah, I think I can relate to that a little bit because it does seem like it's an awful early because we're a year away from the election, and it's like, oh wow, it just starts earlier and earlier every time. But then there's also superhero fatigue. That's a big buzzword because people are all like, well, the Marvel movies, they're not doing the same at the box office as they used to do. They're not these big mega blockbusters, and so maybe people are having superhero fatigue, Marvel fatigue. That's honestly, I have a different theory about that. I don't think there's so much the superhero fatigue as there is the launch of streaming services like Disney Plus, for example, make it a whole lot more convenient to just stay home and watch. Now, and the when they did the Scarlett Johansson movie, where she did her Black Widow film, that was released in the theaters and on Disney Plus on Marvel on Disney Plus streaming at the same time, and the ticket sales just went phew. Why? Well, because it was on the tail end of COVID when we were just lifting those restrictions. People still didn't want to go out for fears of different things, but also because, well, we all have, not all, but a lot of people have large flat panel TVs in our homes. I've even got surround sound in my basement, with my big TV. So the experience is not bad. Now, I'm a purist. If there's a really good movie, I like to go see it in the theater. I do prefer that. But there are a lot of people that they don't care about that. It's not a big deal for them. But what is a big deal, especially if they have a family, is the cost as well. It's expensive to go to a movie, not just the tickets, but then you buy the refreshments there as well. It all gets pricey, and so if we want to watch something, maybe we won't get to see it right away because it's in the theater first. That they learned their lesson with the Black Widow movie. They don't do that simultaneous release thing anymore. But something's released in theater, it's generally only a few months at the most before it's available on streaming, and so unless it's something people really want to go see and they need to see it right away, let's wait in a couple of months. Okay, I can wait a couple of months, and so that's really where it's not superhero fatigue. It's how the world has changed, both because of the pandemic and also because of the streaming services. So that's really more of what that is in my humble opinion. But superhero fatigue, that's another thing that gets put out there. I saw a new one today. Well, it was new to me. I hadn't seen it before. Of work fatigue, that people are fatigued with their work. And it's not that they're lazy and they don't want to do work. That wasn't the point. The point was that just what they're doing at work is so unfulfilling and so draining to them that it causes them to just shrivel up. It causes them to just not, there is that mentality that says, you shouldn't define yourself by what you do. You are who you are, and what you do is what you do. But don't link those together. Don't define yourself by. Granted, I'm a little older generation now, I guess. Even though technically, what am I? I'm not a baby boomer. I think I'm actually a Gen X, depending on where they draw those lines. But a lot of times I fit much more in the traditionalist category, which was the generation even before baby boomer with the mentality. I don't mind defining myself by what I do. In fact, I take great pride in what I do, and I'm energized by what I do for a living. And so I get fed from that. I get fuel internally from that satisfaction. Now, there are times, though, even in doing that, even though I love my job, there are times when stuff doesn't go exactly as I want it to, or I wind up running up against a wall, or trying to develop something along something, and then I hit some resistance of people, others who don't understand, don't get it. And now you got to take several steps back and try to come at it again and explain. And that's frustrating. That is aggravating. That causes fatigue. And so, but that's me on a rare case. But there are a lot of people that is just the world they work in. It's not even what they're doing. It's that environment that causes them to feel fatigue. And so there's all these kind of ways that we can have fatigue, and it can be physical fatigue, it can be emotional fatigue, it can be mental fatigue. There's all kinds of things. But so we can label different kinds of fatigues all we want, but how do we deal with it? So you have fatigue, how can you deal with it? And I thought, gee, I wonder if there's like some really cool special things. So I did a little research. I did a little digging to see what could be the solutions for that. And so I've got them here on my other phone because I'm using the one here. But so you ready for this? I was actually surprised at the simplicity of the things on this list. But then as I put the list together, I got to thinking, it's amazing that I even get up in the morning at all, because there's a whole lot of stuff on this list that I feel targeted. Let's just say that. So here we go. First item on the list, if you're feeling fatigue, drink water. Not flavored water like I tend to like, but actual water. Drink water. Why? Because feeling fatigued, or just tiredness in general, but certainly fatigue, can be an early indicator of dehydration. And you're not going to get hydrated drinking, almost anything that we would drink other than water. Your body needs the replenishment of the water. So you gotta consume that. And honestly, I for a while I was doing a really good job of drinking lots and lots of water. Kind of got out of that habit, and so I need to get back into that habit. And apparently that also combats fatigue. Now, I don't know that it combats superhero fatigue, but again, I kind of dismiss that. I think that's just a bogus term. I don't really count that. But the other kinds of fatigue that are for us as people, just individuals, that's where the drinking water comes in. Another one is go easy on the caffeine. Obviously linked a little bit with what you're drinking, but whether it's coffee or soda or tea or whatever, go easy on the caffeine. And it's counterintuitive because, and I'm guilty of this. If I'm working on something and it's going into the evening hours and I'm like, what do I want to do? Well, I'll just go grab a soda, or I'll grab one of my carbonated waters, because get that little boost of caffeine. But this is saying the opposite. Now, it may give you a little energy boost, may give you a little jolt to do what you're doing, but if you lean too heavily on that caffeine will actually cause you to be fatigued. And along that same line, if you're dehydrating and you're drinking soda to cover the dehydration, you're not actually getting hydrated from that. It's actually causing the opposite effect on you. So the next thing is eat breakfast. Now that one really surprised me. I was like, why not just eat? But no, other eating is here on the list too. But eat breakfast is specifically one of the recommended things because it sets your energy bar at the beginning of the day. It's how you launch into the day. Without that, you just sort of ease into the day. And that's what I do a lot of. I ease into the day. It's the downside of working from home. I love working from home. I will love working remote when I'm not traveling and I'm here and I get my offices here in my house and I get to do that. I love that. I love doing that. But there are negatives. There are downsides. And one of them is it's very easy for me to just ease into the day and not even worry about eating things. In fact, there's some days I won't really eat anything for breakfast. I won't really even eat anything for lunch. And then along comes dinner, and okay, well, I'll eat a little bit more here at that point. But that's not a good way. First of all, that's not good for me even as a diabetic. I need to have a more regular diet, so you have you don't have the high spikes of your sugar level and valleys, but that you have more even keel on that. And then along that line, this is where the other food thing comes in. There's also, in addition to eating breakfast, there is the emphasis on eating smaller portions more often. Certainly not doing what I just described, but not even necessarily doing breakfast, lunch, dinner, but of doing, eat your breakfast and then have a small, and it's not even like just munch on something, snack thing. That's not what, but like a little something you eat, like a protein package. Don't know why I had such trouble. Let's see, is lack of ability to speak on this list? No. But one of those or a couple of those in the morning, and it's not even really a lunch thing. It's you're spreading that out or something. But of thinking of smaller portion things on a more regular basis during the day than even just the limited target 3 big meal kind of thing or something. Now, one of the things that's also recommended, speaking of food, is fish oil. Apparently helps overcome fatigue, helps deal with that, and so eating fish can be a good thing. Fish and seafood things. This is always a problem for me because that also works for diabetics too. That seafood is supposed to be very healthy for you for diabetes. Problem is, I don't like it. I don't really care for seafood. It's not that I totally hate it, but it's just never really tripped my trigger. And so apparently, though, I keep first, as with being diabetic, and now it's avoiding fatigue, and so apparently I have to start checking into doing more with the fish. So then also get moving. Get up, move around, be active, be and again, it seems like kind of I'm feeling fatigue, I'm run down, I'm tired, I'm weak, and so I just want to sit down and relax and just rest. Yeah, but then it's like you're in a hole and you're just digging the hole deeper. That the way to overcome the fatigue, is to get up and move around, is to use energy to build up more energy. If that makes any sense. I mean, in my brain, it makes sense. But along with that, then also is lose weight. Losing weight, and myself personally, I don't know, you probably can tell, but my tummy is a little extra pudgy, is a little extra full, and I don't like that. As we've talked about in the past, that I certainly don't ever want to get up to the weights that I was at when I first started the show. But even this, I'm not really comfortable with this. When I look down, I don't like seeing a little something here. It's not that I expect to be thin and svelte and have the body of an 18-year-old, because I'm far from an 18-year-old. But what this tells me is I'm not taking as good a care of myself as I should be taking care of. Again, that ties back to the diabetes too. That when you gain weight, that does not help your blood sugar. Losing weight helps your blood sugar and maintaining that. And so, interestingly enough, though, remember I said the downsides of working from home, working remote. Here's another one, because when I am in my basement on my computer, it is so easy to just basically live there, to camp out at that computer. When you're in an office, you're up and around, walking, socializing with other people. You're going to lunch with others. You're walking to the restaurants, whatever. I'm not doing any of that here. And so when I am at home, I'm pretty stagnant. And this is saying you want to avoid fatigue. You need to get up, moving around. You need to get out and around, and you need to be losing weight. Don't get rid of excess weight that you may have. So again, I'm like going down this list going, check. And then also the last one here, excuse me, perhaps one I feel the most targeted on, is go to bed early. Don't stay up late. I do that all the time. Now I've started to get out of this a bit more because I find myself having to get up and do meetings and stuff earlier in the day, and plus having Lisa and Sophia living here, they get up very early to get ready because they have longer drives now to get Sophia to school and Lisa to work, and so it's not really easy to stay asleep while you have two other people in the same house up and around and making noise and getting ready to leave. And so I find myself waking up earlier than I otherwise would if it was just me here on my own. And that means I get tired earlier in the evening and I need to go to bed because I know I'm going to have this earlier start in the day. And so I have been going to bed earlier. But it's not just go to bed earlier. It is the quality of the sleep that you're getting then as well. And sometimes I might go to bed earlier, but I don't really get a good quality sleep for whatever reason it might be. A lot of times it's because of Lisa's dog Wiggles likes to sleep in the bed and stay nuzzled up to me. And that's okay as long as if she would just stay still, but she doesn't stay still. She flops around and she moves around, and sometimes she'll even have, or early morning hours, she'll need to go to the bathroom. And that means someone has to get up and take her out, which is me. We tried to avoid that. Tried to get her to wait at least until everybody is getting up and around, and then somebody takes her out the first time. But that still doesn't mean it's not without the realm of possibility. But even worse is that sometimes she'll just need to stretch her own legs in the middle of the night, and she's a dachshund. So she climbs out from under the blankets, and she gets out, and then she shakes her head, and those big ears just flop, flop, flop. And more than one time, I have been awoken in the middle of the night by having my face slapped by these big ears. Hello, that'll wake you up, and then it's difficult to get back to sleep. That interrupts the flow of your sleep. So anyway, it's not just go to bed early. It's also try to get good sleep. And if you can't do that, and this has happened to me, if you can't do that, then take a nap. That a nap is a good thing. Now, it's like, well, of course you would say that, Paul, because you're getting old. And old people take naps. That's probably true. Notice on the list, I did notice on the list, it doesn't say anything about age that causes fatigue. But seriously, it says that if the quality of your sleep is not solid, if it's not robust, if you will, then it is a good thing to try to find opportunity to take a nap. And there have been some days where I have just I wake up in the beginning of the day, and let's see, I wake up, I didn't drink much water, I didn't eat any breakfast, I'm just sitting at my computer and not moving around, I've got a little extra weight, check. And lo and behold, I'm feeling fatigue. Imagine that. And so I will actually, if work permits, if what I'm doing, if I have the opportunity, I may actually set an alarm on my phone, to give me 30 minutes or maybe even a whole hour, and I will set that and I will just lay down or sometimes just sit on the couch and just doze off for that period of time because I don't have any choice because I'm sitting there on my computer working away and I can feel myself going. And so that's usually my cue to do something. Now I know that something is not just take a nap. That something maybe get out and walk around some outside. I'm sure Wiggles wouldn't mind if I say, hey, let's go outside for a little walk. You want to go do that? Or to just even drink some water. Do those in combination. So anyway, I learned a few things in looking this stuff up, and so I wanted to share that all with you. We do live in a world today, we live in a society today where it does seem like there are so many reasons to experience fatigue. And that's not a good thing, but it is a reality. And so here you go. I've armed you with some options, and I hope they work for you. I hope they work for me. And with that, because I got a little tickle forming in my throat, I don't want to be coughing in your ear. With that, I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.